Okay, I'm using the Dave Mustaine V. Yep, I'm over it. It's a fantastic guitar. It's really good. It's great to play. It's really fast. It's very accurate, and it sounds cool. So that's why I'm using it. I'm not taking the piss. I don't really care about any of that anyway. But anyhow, let's just get on with it. So it's standard tuning, E A D G B E. The intro for this, it starts on the album. They do with a flamenco guitar, classical guitar for all those intros. So for this, we're going to use a nice clean channel. I'm using the Mercuriall's Reaxis program, which is like a Mesa Boogie Triaxis, and it does the best Metallica tones ever. So I'll leave links in the description, so please check it out. Really cool. So up in the top in the Reaxis settings, I've just got what I'm using right now. Okay, so the whole song starts with James on the E minor shape, but your second finger here is on the D string on the 3rd fret, which is like a pull off, but you just strum it. It's like all down, one up. Then it goes to the next chord. I have no idea of the theory with any of these chord names, but the root note is an F, then it's an open A, and the D string is on the 2nd fret. Right, so after that F shape, he moves from the F to the F sharp. After the F sharp there, you hit an open D, and then follow it up with a G chord. It's like a G power chord, but you're only hitting the root note of the G and the 5th. The other ones are open D and open G below it. And that repeats itself until they hit the distortion part. It's one of the coolest Metallica riffs. So the chord shapes here are very similar to the intro, but it's just a straight up E power chord, followed by those two same F and F sharp variants, and then to a G power chord, and that's on the 3rd, 5th, 5th. And as you can see, that just repeats itself all the way till they get to the intro where James is on his own. This riff is awesome. Right, so those 4 chords there, it's just an E power chord, followed by a B power chord, then a G power chord. It goes to that inverted dyad with on the A string on the 6th fret and the D string on the 4th fret. And then kicks into that riff. And this riff, I'm just going to play it at speed to start with, and then we'll slow it right down. So I've got the camera focused on my right hand here, and pretty much if you can just keep up with the that's really the whole movement that you're doing the whole song. If you can just practice that and get it nice and tight. Right, so the first thing, it starts with that, like you bounce off the first. So you do the bounce in those triplets. Right, so those chords, the whole chords in this song, we've been through the first few, but these chords here, it's just on the B flat to the A. So the second dyad here on the 7th and 5th fret just ducks down one, but instead of going to the 6th and 4th, you actually got to go to the 5 and the 4. And when you finish that chord, instead of bouncing a single note, you just straight back into a series of 2 triplets. We got that? this whole count and the way that James plays this riff and keeps it tight, you've just got to know when to bounce the E and when just to go straight into a double triplet. Super slow. And now we're sliding up from the F sharp to the G. And when we do these slide ups between each note, we come down and hit an open chord, just nice and slow. We'll get, if we get this intro right now down pat, you've got the whole song perfect. Right, so let's just speed that up and I'll just keep playing it over and over and over till we get the feel. And now nice and slow. Hopefully we have that. It's that's the cornerstone of this whole song. It's really cool. It's just a really good right hand workout, just to play nice and clean, keep it tight, and the next part of that. So now we just get pretty much, if you have that from now on, it's just learning the chord shapes and learning the changes. So it's all downhill from here. Promise. So at the tail end of that riff, James just goes into the riff to bring the whole band in, and we have. So hopefully you got that. It's at the end of that riff. I can play the whole thing, but so those chords there, you can see it's the same chords. And we're back into that riff again. And pretty much the riff has gone full circle now. We're back to the entire intro. And this is where it becomes a little bit hard to see on the video. I'll just play it the way that sometimes people make mistakes in this song. That might have sounded right to a few of you, but the actual way it's played on the record. I'll just play it fast and then we'll break down. Right, so I hope you might have caught that, but nice and slow. Alright, so hopefully that made a bit of sense. You could see we hit that. And instead of doing a bounce like after that chord, we slide up and hit the 7th and 5th. And that just slides down. And then we're left with just doing a nice and slow again. Hopefully I haven't confused you. When James plays those chords through this song in the different verses, he always comes back and lands on that 7th and 5th inverted, which a lot of people mistake for an open E. Instead of it's only a minor little thing, but right, so the riff just keeps going around, and you notice there's a lot of changes through the verse. Right, hopefully you caught that there. Right in that point there, that instead of coming back to the, we just go straight to an E power chord. So you can see that inverted power chord we just do there. It doesn't go from the 7-5, then the 5-4. It stays as that same shape. So nearly at the end of the verse riff where James yells out battery, and that always took me a long time to try and work out what the chords were behind that. The tabs never showed it. We hit that B flat twice, then go straight down to the B flat, F, back into the chugs on the E power chord again. This is a sort of tricky part to play in it. Let the B ring out, but then this is heavily palm muted here. And the second time we come around, you saw that, he does the, playing that first verse riff nice and slow. A few things that about that we can talk about now. We've played it through. Every time there's a chord, I do all downstrokes on every chord that's played, because that sort of keeps the timing a lot better with the... If you do an upstroke on each of those, it sort of upsets the whole timing with the... Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to do that way. Since I've been doing it that way, it's a lot tighter. I'm getting away, playing it cleaner. Just things that I find about James Hetfield's playing that, like when I go from cover to cover or song to song, there's little nuances that take me a little bit to adjust to each time. How to capture those characteristics that make it sound aggressive or melodic or however that person plays. But the main technique James uses on his picking a lot of the downstrokes is he chokes the strings off a lot more than Dave, and a lot more than other players that I play a lot of. I've really got to get used to it's more of a percussive hit than a melodic hit a lot of the time. So these are things to just be aware of. A lot of downstrokes, and you're not upstroking too much. Right after the battery. Exactly repeats its whole self for the second riff again. Nothing changes. Comes back around the third time, and we're getting into the intro for the guitar solo. Battery. Right, so for that little part of the riff there, with the E power chord goes to the G. The next part, I start this with an upstroke. It's a lot easier when you do this with an upstroke. It feels... Second time, it's just the F sharp to the G. The chords in that bridge section just before the chorus there. You might have that. It's the C, B, back to the G. Then the G goes to an A, then a B, back to the E. On the second time around, James gets back to that G. Instead of just going, he goes. So just to play that. Right, so you might have that. It's just chord shapes, and at the very end, he hits the G and goes to the B and back to the G again. So the riff behind Kirk's solo, nice and slowly, we'll just play. Okay, so the chords at the end that James plays as the riff gets melodic and tails up. And that's where Kirk's doing the wah-wah descending lick. And it turns into on the F sharp the first time. Then Lars hits that drum roll and it goes straight back into the riff. Right, and the whole song starts to tail up again and goes through the whole riff. But at the very end of the song, when James says, you know, gets the whole battery thing, instead of stopping there, you just go back into the chorus again. Once you played through that verse and got to battery for the last time, you'll notice that the tail changes a little bit. You'll work that out after what I've just shown you. But James says battery. Now that backbeat riff to tail out the entire song to the end starts in the F, not the F sharp. So when the backbeat riff finishes on the B, it's just a... That was just an F sharp to the F, and then an upstroke on the E to finish it. Okay, so that's Battery by Metallica, James Hetfield classic of mine. I love it. So hopefully I've showed it to you without cutting any corners, and stay safe, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.